Well, welcome to Stoke Meter, and today we are excited to have Kevin Osby. Now, Kevin is, I want to read this because it's such a long thing, right? He's a senior enlisted advisor at the Army and Air Force Exchange. And Kevin, I'm not even going to profess to know what everything that means is. What is that?
So, like you said, I'm Kevin Osby. I'm the senior enlisted advisor for the Army and Air Force Exchange Service. So if you've ever been on a base and you've ever been to either a gas station, or if you've ever been to the retail store, the mall, or whatever the case that we have on base, our organization on an Army and Air Force base, our organization kind of manages all those programs and those stores. And so we people know us by the PX or the BX. If you've ever heard of that,
yeah,
then that's the exchange.
Yeah, my wife was actually she actually grew up as an Air Force brat, and her father retired over at Mountain Home Air Force Base over here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So very familiar with all that stuff, and they always got some good stuff over there. Matter of fact, they still do.
Oh yeah. Now people. I remember as a kid, I wasn't really affiliated with the military at all. None of my family, but I do remember growing up. I grew up pretty close to Barksdale Air Force Base. I'm originally from Shreveport, Louisiana, and we would all try to get snuck on base to get no taxes on whatever we try to buy. So if we got trying to buy a TV, we don't want to have to pay taxes on it. So that's what I remember as a child.
I love it. So you're a good man to know when there's all kinds of goodies that need to be had. Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's another thing though that matter of fact, Karch, there's one thing I didn't know. The reason that I know Kevin is because Susan Allred back in the day introduced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Karch also knows Susan, and but not Sanjay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but with that, and it wasn't just the exchange. What Kevin does is very unique, in that as I read some of the things, they increase the morale of the troops because they bring in these special guests and all kinds of special guests. And in these interviews like this, right? And I'm go ahead and explain that, Kevin.
So it was really kind of strange, and today we had an interview. Matter of fact, I had an interview like 2 hours ago, and we interviewed our previous senior enlisted advisor to the exchange, who we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. So we brought him back on to interview him, and so we got a chance to talk about how this whole thing started. So it started with COVID, of course, and so we were trying to get on some type of forum or platform so we can let the folks know how we're keeping people safe. So it started off with here's all the COVID protocols that we're doing. Here's what we're doing to keep the shoppers safe. We're sanitizing everything. We're putting up face shields. We're doing a whole bunch of different things. And then all of a sudden, somebody saw that on the team and was like, hey, I think I know a celebrity. Why don't we try to host a celebrity? Yeah. And so they started coordinating it, and at the time they were like, we don't know how to work this Zoom thing. Like it was just even the first one was pretty jacked up, right? If you just look at the first episode. And then so they finally kind of coordinated, and they I forgot which celebrity, the first one, but the first big one they got was Mark Wahlberg. And so the cool thing about working at the exchange is we carry all these brands that are in our stores, and a lot of these brands have celebrities kind of tied to them. And so most of the celebrities, they love the military. They want to show some love to the military, but there's no outlet for them to, unless they just say it just randomly on their Facebook page or their Instagram page. So we set this up, and we're like, hey, let's try to get some celebrities on to show some love to the military and just kind of humanize the celebrity. So we just asked them pretty easy questions, and they get to talk about themselves and how they got to where they are, and kind of tied into the military too, because we have our mental health and resiliency and fitness, and And so we asked them about those things so we can kind of tie the military mission into those interviews. But man, I kind of walked into this job though. So my predecessor got it all set up, right? Went through all the growing pains of the show, got it to like this well-oiled machine, and then he PCS'd and I came in and I took over. But I took over with, I think my first high-profile guest was Diddy. So for me, it was just weird because I'm like, I've never done the podcast thing. I can hold a conversation, but as far as, you know, talking to a celebrity, it was just kind of weird for me. But we've had Diddy, we've had Matthew McConaughey, we've had Garth Brooks. We just had Tom Selleck. He's like the mustache goat, and I've been wearing the mustache for most of my life. So that was one of my idols. We just had Mayim Bialik from Blossom. We had we've had just a ton of athletes. We had Aaron Rodgers, Gronkowski, just a bunch of different athletes and entertainers, and then we also have senior military leaders. So we have the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, the Sergeant Major of the Army, and other military leaders to kind of. So we just it's a well balanced like mix of people.
Right.
Some people you've heard of, some people you've never heard of, but we just especially if they got a military tie, we have them on the show.
I thought that was pretty cool. I watched the Tom Selleck one and some of your other ones. And I think that's the thing that's kind of unique about it is you see a side of these people that you normally wouldn't see.
Yeah.
And with the military, just about everybody has 1 or 2 degrees separation from someone that's in the military if they aren't themselves. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And like you said, Tom Selleck, he was in the California National Guard. So he was in the military himself during the Vietnam era. And so he talked a lot about the Vietnam era and how you know, folks weren't treated as well when they came back from that war. And so, like I said, you just get it, like you said, you get a chance to know people on a different level. Even though, and the cool thing about that one is he did the interview from the set of Blue Bloods, right?
Yeah,
so,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so, and he had the suit on and everything. So I was like, are you still in character, or are we talking to Tom Selleck right now? So it was cool, man. And we really don't know how it's gonna turn out. But it's been great. So we haven't had one that was like a catastrophic failure. So so it's always worked out great.
Well, the nice thing about the military too, and you see this come through in your podcasts and your interviews, is the military seems to be kind of a great equalizer. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's like it kind of brings people down to a common level, which I think is kind of cool. You see that come through as well.
Oh yeah. And like you said, of course, we don't get political or anything on the show, but you see people from different, perspectives on life in general, but they all have a commonality of, you know what, we love our military. We love the fact that we get to sleep at night safely because we got, men and women out there defending the country. So it like you said, it does like a nonpartisan, like it brings people together on both sides of the fence. When it's been kind of crazy in America here for the past, few years. And so for us to have like a show that people can come in and it's not about left wing or right wing. It's all about just, America. And so like I said, I'm proud to be a part of it. It's cool. And the cool thing is I get a chance to, I get to interact with celebrities, but I also get the chance to bring other soldiers and airmen or service members on to meet their favorite celebrity when the schedules, some celebrities like, we only got 20 minutes or 20, 30 minutes, so I can't really bring anybody else on. But if we got one that's like, got some time, then like Garth Brooks, we brought in like 7 airmen
That's awesome.
We brought in 7 airmen on the Zoom to talk to Garth Brooks, and a lot of them were in their 20s, right? But Garth Brooks is like, y'all listen to me? They're like, no, my mother and father listened to, raised me on you. And so he started giving shout out to their mothers and fathers. So it was awesome. It was a good experience.
I got to ask you though. So there's a 2-part question. One, you had a interviewee with the Rock with Dwayne Johnson. Want to know what that was like? But even the deeper meaning is how has it been for the morale when everyone sees them and they're able to interact with them? What is the morale like afterward?
Oh yeah. So, Rock is bigger than life, right? So I remember this interview really well because right before the interview, about 2 hours before the interview, I started getting all these text messages and direct messages and stuff, and they're like, The Rock just posted your promo on his Instagram, and he's got like 200 million. He's got like 70% of the United States population as followers on his Instagram. I'm like, man, I just got posted in front of 200 something million people. So so now I wasn't really that nervous because I had talked to a few celebrities, but now I'm like, oh crap, he's got his following, and so I really can't screw this one up. So yeah, so that was cool, and like I said, he was super cool. We had brought on. I used to supervise somebody, and her kids absolutely love The Rock. So we brought her on, and she was able to kind of ask him a few questions, but she wanted him to give them a birthday shout out. One of her kids' birthday was coming up, and so he went into character. It was the where he was a cartoon.
Moana. Yeah.
Yeah. He went into that character, and he sung this song, and it was for just specifically for her child, man. And man, her eyes lit up. Those are just moments that you'll never forget, right?
Never.
And
that is fantastic.
So that's the cool thing about the show, is being able to kind of bring people on, and also if the celebrity went on live on their own platform, you'd get 2 million comments, right? And nobody would ever read your comment because it's just way too many. Our circle is not that big, right? So if I'm talking to Tom Selleck or if I'm talking to The Rock, we may have 100 or 200 people on the live itself. A lot of our people watch it after the fact because of the time frame. But it's a lot easier to get to comments, and we're able to read some comments during our live broadcast. And now I got a chance to say what's up to The Rock or nice mustache, Tom Selleck. You just get a chance to say some stuff that it may get read on air. So that's another cool thing about the platform as well.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And I guess the second part, we talked a little bit about that, but what have you seen for the kid? I'm sure that was amazing when The Rock sang to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Generally, what's the response like with everybody that listens to them, the messages that are shared and so on?
Oh no, they're super appreciative. I think we always try to set the person up that's being interviewed up to say some good words or some impactful words to our audience, and they always receive it well. Like I get a lot of compliments. People are like, "You guys did a wonderful job with the interview," and like Gary was mentioning, you learned something new about that person that you never even known, and you probably seen them on TV or been following them for a long time. So we're able to kind of uncover a little bit more. Sometimes they're willing to share some things and be like, okay, cool. But it connects us all together because we talk about resiliency and so you see your favorite actor or favorite athlete and you just think that their life is just wonderful, and they talk about they got hurdles and they got issues, and it kind of brings a more connection to someone that you think you put on this pedestal, but they're really going through the same life problems that we are. So I think that in itself is probably the coolest thing about my job, is to say, you know what, this person on the other end of the Zoom is a human being too, and they go through stuff, and here's how they met. Because we always ask them, so how do you get through the tough times, or how are you working out, or how do you start working out? Because a lot of us are starting our resolution in January. In February we're on something else. So for them to share the secrets or share some tidbits is just awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. What is one of the first of all, how many interviews have you done between military people and celebrities and that type of thing? What are you up to now?
So we're up to episode 111 today. Today was episode 111. So we turned a year old. I think it was April the 8th.
Wow.
So it was when we had our first show, and we've had 111 episodes since then. So it's
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So of those episodes, share with us one of those moments where it was like the most impact to you, like a story or something that you talked about where you're just like, wow, that's incredible.
So during Veterans Day, we had a run of Medal of Honor recipients on the show. So every week we would have another Medal of Honor recipient, and just just hearing their stories and how young they were. So that's what kind of resonated with me. These guys were 22, 23-year-olds having to save a bunch of people's lives and put their lives at risk. And a lot of their friends or whatever didn't make it. So that whole week, I was kind of, just reflecting on life and just like, man, I'm asking, and my son's 21-year-old, and I can't even imagine him leading anything, right? Because he's a good kid, but he's just not ready. So, but the thing is most of those 21-year-olds, we feel like they're not ready, but if you put them in the right situation, they flourish, they shine, and we train them up or whatever the case may be. But it's just talking to those gentlemen, man, and they were, they were able to kind of, take us to the moment, right? And for me, I thought that would be kind of tough for people to talk about, but man, they were just open and honest, and they were humble, and they were like, you know what, some of them have like survivor's guilt, right? And they, it's tough wearing that sometimes because you think about all the people that didn't make it home. And so, like I said, for that one's probably impacted me the most because, and I can't point to one of them. All of them were really, really awesome. One of them was a Marine, and he was like 93 years old. And he's still sharp as a tack. And we were trying to figure out his secret. And he told us, some red wine vinegar and some other contraption, probably like a hottie toddy or something, a hot toddy or something. But he takes that every day. So like I said, all of them were awesome, but just hearing stories of them being in a super like pressure situation and what they were thinking at that moment, and how it's affected them for the rest of their lives, man. I think that was kind of the coolest.
Well,
That's awesome.
It also goes to the fact that as they're sharing that, I hope they realize how much they're impacting the people that hear it. My father, for instance, he was in the 442nd, that Japanese American unit back in World War II. Mm-hmm. And when they came back, he never said anything. Yeah. But I remember when he opened up and people listened to that story, there was a lot of connection across the board that really helped him as well. And,
oh yeah. No, you're right. And we've had plenty of authors on the show that survived, IEDs or whatever the case may be. Right. And they talk about how therapeutic them just writing what happened down and getting their story out. Like you said, it's therapeutic for them, and it's kind of it's kind of amazing the people you love the most don't know a lot about you, right? Because you come back from those situations and you keep everything to yourself. So it's really kind of enlightening for the spouse or the mother or the brothers and sisters that don't really know, because once you get back, you just really don't talk about that kind of stuff. So like I said, and it's cool to just provide that platform for them to kind of open up. But they've already, by the time they get to us, they've already pretty much opened up or whatever the case may be. But I always stress that in the shows is like, you know what, this is therapeutic. And I know there's a lot of, service members out there that are holding a lot of stuff in, and it's okay to get help. So,
yeah. Well, and I think that you probably give them a forum or an avenue to tell those stories without them trying to protect their loved ones or their family. You know what I mean? Right. So I think it really is. I think that becomes something that would be just absolutely priceless for the families of those individuals, because you see these events that are made into a movie or something like that.
Absolutely.
It's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. But when you get somebody raw in the moment telling what happened, I mean, you can't get better than that.
No,
especially when you're talking about something like you are, where these people are stepping up in a critical moment. I'm gonna go back and look at those, because I love stuff like that, and you can tell in the moment that it's something very special.
Oh no, absolutely. And me as a current person wearing the uniform, it's just they blazed the trail for me to be in this position that I am right now. So like I said, I'm always in debt and gratitude to those service members that came before me. I always show them some love. I always the folks that wearing the Vietnam hats, like I see them all over the place, and we show them some love. And as a matter of fact, the exchange really, we have our CEO was in the military around the Vietnam era, so he's really connected to the Vietnam vets. And so we do every year and it just happened here about a month ago. We do a ceremony for all the Vietnam vets and give them the Vietnam pins. And so, like I said, our organization is amazing. I love working here. We're so connected. We're not just a retailer. We, if members are deployed downrange, we have people that are right next to them providing services, so they can feel like they're at home. No matter if they're in Iraq or Afghanistan or Turkey or Germany or wherever they're at, we have folks that our exchange representatives that are there with them. So it's like I said, it's an organization that I probably took for granted as a service member because I didn't really understand all the things that they do. But now that I'm a part of the team, man, they do some amazing stuff for our service members.
There's one thing that really dawned on me during the course of this discussion. When all my military friends, they're just tough mothers, man. I mean, they're so tough, and I have them from every level of the special ops all the way down to the enlisted men. And when you hear the tough stories, what you find at the core of that is the unity that is conveyed when they have a common mission. And it's something that is such an inspiration that they get to see individuals for who they really are. And from that, you can't be fake, right?
No, absolutely.
You can't be fake. And the fact that they're sharing these stories, I didn't know until Gary just said, hey, these things are online. You can actually listen to them. I remember you gave me a snippet of Tom Selleck's, but knowing that, I hope the public is taking a look at a lot of these videos to get that connection, not only with the stars that they have, but also with the military itself. I mean, what a fine institution.
Yeah, we had the Wetzels on the show. That interview, it was the gentleman and his wife. I think his name was Adam Wetzel and Paige Wetzel, but he lost his bottom half of his body to an IED. And so he was telling this story, right? And he said all they could think about, so they rush over there to kind of render aid, and he knows the medic, like they're like best friends or something. And he said that all they could do was think about was trying to keep him calm. And it wasn't the medic trying to keep him calm because the medic was freaking out, but he was trying to keep the medic calm. So he's telling jokes with like his no legs, right? So he gets thrown like 20 yards and he doesn't, he knows that something's bad going on with his legs, but all I could think about was trying to tell some jokes to the medics to keep him calm. So I was like, man, that's crazy.
That's inspirational, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Gary, he's in the medical field, and he's shared a lot of stories, but to hear it from that intense moment, amazing.
Yeah, no, for me, I'm just like, I'm sitting there with my mouth open, not sure what to say. Like it was like, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. But he was, like I said, he was a good guy. He always cracked jokes, and he just was like, you know what? I know that this guy is probably freaking out on my behalf, but I felt like I gotta make sure that you're good so you can take care of me. So, so that was a cool interview. But like I said, I've been able to kind of chat with a lot of interesting people. Right. And like I said, for me, I like talking to people and trying to understand people, because that's like you were talking like before, is the military. You bring all these people from all walks of life, but we got to protect each other, even though we might not agree with each other, we might not like each other on most days. Like, but we're in the foxhole. Like, I need you to cover my six, and and we do that. And so even between services, so I used to be in the Marine Corps before I joined the Air Force. And of course, the Marine Corps teaches you that no other service is crap except for the Marine Corps, right? And we have all the jokes for all the other services, but we know when the stuff hits the fan, we know that the Air Force is going to bring air power, the Army's going to come on the ground, and the Navy's going to come from the water. And we appreciate our brothers and sisters in arms. So it's, like I said, it's cool. And like I said, we jab with each other all the time, but we know that we're family at the end of the day.
Like one big, huge dysfunctional family. Huh?
A huge dysfunctional family. Absolutely. It kind of reminds me of my family too. So we're one big, huge dysfunctional family as well.
Well, no, you were talking a little bit earlier, just kind of these stories you're telling me. And then, like I said, like Marie says, I work in an emergency department and that type of thing, trauma, that type of stuff. And one thing I think is so interesting is how people act when put in situations that are just way beyond anything they ever thought that they would experience in life. Yeah. And more times than not, I'm surprised at what great things people do.
No, absolutely.
In the face of either danger or pain or, you know.
Yeah. Do you freeze?
So you mentioned that you were in the medical career field, and that kind of brought me back to another interview that I had with James Patterson. So James Patterson, the well-renowned author, and he was promoting a book, and it was just taking snippets of stories of service members, and not having a full complete book, but a full like storyline, but just little mini stories. So if you get and I forgot the name of the book, I gotta bring it up, but he mentioned. And so I think he's got a book coming out soon where it's going to be bringing stories of nurses and medical professionals on the front line doing trauma stuff. So, looking out for that's going to be awesome, because I think there's a lot of similar stories that go on that are untold stories that, people really kind of take for granted sometimes. And, for him to want to bring those stories to light, man, I thought that was pretty awesome.
I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. I think that would be amazing for sure.
Yeah.
No, thanks for pointing that out.
Oh, absolutely.
That is good stuff. And, there's one thing too, I'm going back to all the people things. There's something that you had highlighted on, I think it was on one of your Facebook posts. And it says, I'm not impressed by money, status, or job title. I'm impressed by the way you treat other human beings. Yeah. And just in the heat of everything that goes on, I'm just wondering, in all your interviews, what have you seen that have highlighted the human spirit? We've talked a little bit about it up to this point, with with the Wetzel joking with his buddy. But I'm just wondering, what other things have you seen from either celebrities, other soldiers, civilians, the whole bit?
Yeah, what I've noticed is we got some good folks out there in the world, and I don't think they get highlighted enough. I think all the craziness in the world gets a lot more attention than the great stuff that people are doing. And I just really get the opportunity to highlight on my show all the positive and just great things that, because we all got issues and we all got problems and we all are not perfect and we all probably need some improvement in some point of, in some form of our life. But just to be able to show that, we got some good folks out there in the world, man. They're doing some great stuff. We just had an interview with Craig Grossi. He's he got in an ID attack or a rocket attack, and he found comfort in this dog in Afghanistan, and don't ask me, I still don't know how he got the dog from Afghanistan to America, because I told him you can't even take beef jerky through customs without them confiscating. How'd you get this freaking dog?
Well, there's a will, there's a way. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. But he was able to get this dog, and that dog formed that connection, because he said that when he kept seeing this dog going back and forth during this time there, right? And they're doing convoys, they're doing all kind of other stuff. And he said that one day he was like, you know what? He had some beef jerky. He's like, let me feed this dog. And this dog, his coat was all matted, like it looked all tore up, like it was in really bad shape. And he said once he did that, he saw the dog wag his tail, and he knew, like, man, like, wow, like the dog's obviously happy, but he kind of took that and kind of ran with it and said, you know what, that dog had every reason to feel like I'm down, I'm out, or whatever, but he found a reason to wag his tail. And so he kind of put that into, and now he's an author and he writes books or whatever the case may be, but he's taking that connection with the dog and kind of talk about resiliency and having support systems. And now he's doing stuff in the state penitentiary in Maine, and he's working with those inmates, and he's kind of drawing that parallel to the dog, to where these folks got all these reasons to be down, and we just need to give them a reason to wag their tail. And so, like I said, I thought those were like, just knowing folks are out there just doing stuff like that, and they don't really do it for the credit, or it doesn't get highlighted or put out there on, it doesn't go viral, but just knowing there's a lot of good folks out there in the world, it's reassuring to me.
What was his name again? Just so people could look him up.
Craig Grossi, Grossi. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. I think to tag on to that, I think something that's important to remember these days is good people have bad days too.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean, it's like one of the things I think that is so, there's a little tangent, and I apologize.
No, it's all good.
I think it's important to realize is that, you know, back in the day when I go to a restaurant and I got bad service, I would say, oh, that sucks. And I would move on and say, maybe I won't go back there for a while. Or, yeah. You know, in this day and age, it's, you know, you got to destroy, you got to take a picture of the waitress,
take a picture. Absolutely.
Destroy her, you know, and it's just sad to see, you know, like that's the stuff you're talking about is people are generally good people, and people generally have aspects about them that you can learn from, and that, you know, are awesome. Anyway, my little plug for just be good people.
Yeah, just be good human beings. And like you said, it's, I learned so much from each one of my guests. Like I said, I might not always agree with their viewpoints on a few things, but I learned so much. And so I'm just fortunate to be able to sit here and have a conversation with people and just kind of learn about different people from different walks of life. And that's the beauty of being in the military. You get to do that all the time.
Yeah, but you're not shutting down the conversation because of differences.
Correct.
You know, that's important.
Correct. Like you got to unarm when you have a conversation. So I tell people you got to leave the weapons and guns at the door so we can actually have a productive kind of conversation. So
yeah, absolutely.
So good. That is so good. Well, I've enjoyed this. This has been fantastic, and I have a feeling that you're going to be interviewing quite a few people that are going to be making a significant impact moving forward there. And I can't wait to hear about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm honored that you guys did some research on me and felt like I was interested enough to bring on your show. So it's like I said, and like I said, this is all new to me. Like I'm not really used to all this stuff, but it's been a great opportunity for me. Like I said, I've always known how to talk, so I mean, I can do that all day long.
Well, give us a quick plug on your show. How do people find you? What do they search for?
Yeah, so I have an official Facebook page, Chief Master Sergeant Kevin. KO is my call sign, KO Osby. So you can find me on there, or you can go to the Shop My Exchange Facebook page, or the Exchange Facebook page. We normally so we were doing twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we kind of trying to rattle that down now that COVID's kind of slowing up just slightly, and because my job is to go out and travel, so I'm supposed to travel to all the bases, show some love to our associates that are doing some hard work out there, and also talk to leadership and try to just spread the AFE's mission to leadership, and just let them understand that we're just not just a retail store. We're just not the class 6. Class 6 is the liquor store, is what we call it on the base. And so, or the shop at, like, we do so much more. So my job is to kind of go out there, show love, and spread the message. So now that that's kind of picking up, we're kind of tapering back to about once a week. So it depending on the guest. Now, if we got Mark Cuban coming up soon. I think that's next week or the week after next. So if we have a high profile, then I may be doing 2 that week, or I may be doing 3.
Yeah. So,
sometimes those high profile ones, you just gotta, if you want to do it on a Saturday morning during cartoons, we're gonna do it during cartoons. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can find, like I said, we go Facebook Live on either one of those Facebook pages. And I'm also on Instagram, but we got to get our presence on Instagram up a little bit more. We also on YouTube, the Shop My Exchange YouTube page, we post all our interviews out there on YouTube as well.
Well, we'll definitely capture that in the description for our show. And I hope that whenever you come out over here to Mountain Home or down there in Tucson, you give us a call.
Yeah, I'll definitely look you up. And Gary's out there in Davis-Monthan area, so Tucson.
Yep.
I'll definitely let you guys know when I visit those areas.
That would be fantastic, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Kevin, thanks. And I have, with every guest, we get so stoked afterward. I hope we see you again on here.
Oh yeah. Listen, I can talk all day, so sometimes
I like it.
Sometimes you got to be able to cut me off a little bit. So
It's all good. This is perfect.
absolutely.
Well, thank you for your time and thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you so much.
You got it.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.